Hey guys, David Clayton here with GuitarBreakdown.com, and today we are going to break down a solo by a guy named Shane Theriot. Now Shane's an amazing guitar player. I'm actually really proud to call him a friend. He was one of my first teachers at music school that completely changed the way I looked at how you can fuse different styles of music together into one really cool sound. Shane had just graduated from Musicians Institute, and he had studied with guys like Scott Henderson and Alan Hines, Dan Gilbert, Steve Trovato, all those great teachers back in the day at Musicians Institute. And he was unbelievably talented at fusing things like he was into George Lynch and Warren DeMartini, and he'd have those aggressive rock licks, but he'd mix in all these little jazzy chromaticisms and thrown in melodic minor or you know, different scales that were kind of outside the range of standard rock in the early 90s. And again, we were all coming in to school mainly looking up to like Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Van Halen, Whitesnake, all those guys, and I wasn't so aware of like the Scott Hendersons and the whole fusion jazz thing. And so he just, when I saw Shane play, it was just amazing because again, he had that aggression of rock, but he had that cool phrasing of jazz, and that was the fusion. That was the introduction of fusion for me. Anyway, so I'm gonna put a link below to stuff to check out for Shane. He's got a YouTube channel. He's got a website. He's got a couple books that he published. A lot of it's New Orleans funk guitar, and he's got a True Fire video that you definitely should check out. It's a great instructional video for rhythm guitar, for kind of that funky New Orleans kind of style rhythm. And Shane's been touring with, I mean, a long time ago he was touring with the Neville Brothers for years, and now he's actually the musical director, and he is the guitar player on Daryl Hall's Live at Daryl's House. And he also tours with Daryl Hall, Hall & Oates right now. But anyway, check out his stuff. Look in the link below. You definitely won't regret it if you don't know who he is already. He's absolutely amazing, and his phrasing is just so cool. It was always just a little quirky, not in a weird way, but it was always like, just his blues phrases were just cooler than normal blues phrases. And maybe it was just my bias of being so overwhelmed by how he's mixing jazz and blues and country and all that. So anyway, that's enough talking. If you guys like this, please subscribe. Let us know by clicking the like button and everything. Share this video. And also, if you guys want Shane to do some lessons with us, we're trying to get him to do some lessons here. He's kind of busy with all the things that he's doing, but if you guys want that, definitely write in the description below, because this guy is a wealth of knowledge, an amazing teacher, and everything from, again, that whole really great blues to fusion to rock to jazz and all that kind of stuff. So let us know what you think, and we will see you in a second, and we're going to break down this tune. All right, so this solo we're going to break down is from a tune called In Between. Now this is off of a CD called Guitar on the Edge, and if I'm correct in saying this, it's a Shrapnel record release kind of thing. These were back in the late 80s, early 90s. They were kind of popular. They came out every month, and it was really cool because they had like 12 to 15 up-and-coming guitar players. Some you may have heard of, some may not. And a lot of these guys are really prominent players nowadays. Guys like Guthrie Govan, Brett Garsed, T.J. Helmrich, Michael Lee Firkins, just everybody. I think Henderson had a tune on there too. And Ron Thal, Bumblefoot, you know, Guns N' Roses now. There's a million people to name. I mean, everybody was on these. Again, every month they came out with, you know, it was all different artists. It wasn't like some of them had 2 or 3 tracks on there. It was like 12 different artists, 12 different tunes. Next month, same thing. It was awesome. And this tune actually was released in the early 90s, I think, and it was the first tune I heard of Shane's. And again, it displayed that cool little jazz phrasing with blues, rock kind of aggression and tone. And it's funny because I spoke to Shane several times throughout the year and mentioned that we were going to do some lessons on some of his tunes. And I think he might have assumed that we were going to do some of his newer stuff. So Shane, you know, I know a lot of guys, they look back at their stuff that they did 20 years ago and they kind of cringe, but I mean, this is awesome. This is one of the things that really opened my eyes to this whole jazz fusion thing. And but definitely check out the link below, because Shane's newer CDs, Highway 90 and Grease Factor, and I think he has a live CD too, they're all awesome. It's a lot of tasty guitar playing, great rhythm stuff, great jazz fusion rock kind of stuff. As far as the gear I'm going through real quick, it's just the normal pedal setup. I am using the Wampler Euphoria to get my overdrive. Love this pedal. And I'm using the Sir Badger 18-watt head into the Bob Burt cabinet. Love Bob's cabinet. And also his AH1 distortion, but we're not using on this one. Anyway, so the beginning of this solo can be looked at basically as like B Dorian. It's being played over a little groove that's going. So it's basically just on an A note, then it goes down to a G kind of thing. The first two chords that lead into this solo are kind of cool. If you're not familiar with them, I'll just throw these at you. Just cool little voicings. And basically what that is, it's the 5th fret of the D string, open string, G string, so you get 2 G notes, a unison note, and then you have the 3rd fret on the B string. Then you just slide that pattern down a whole step, so now you have the 3rd fret of the D string, open string, G string, to the C note, the 1st fret of the B string. So it's right. Then from there he slides into this, pretty much playing around this 7th position. If you look at it in just a box position, like B minor pentatonic. Right, but it's really out of an A major scale. You're playing B Dorian. Yeah, I'm not going to get crazy into theory here or anything. But he slides into this, the 9th fret of the B string, and he bends it up a half step. And then he adds vibrato, kind of in time with the rhythm of the tune. Then he just bends down, bends that 9th fret half step bend down, and then pulls off to the 7th fret, so 9-7. Then he goes 9-7 again on the G string, so. And then he does the little cool phrase where he bends the half step of the 9th fret on the E string this time. Pulls off to 7th fret again. So basically so far it's 9-7 pretty much with half step bends. And then he goes on the B string from 10, 7 to 9. And then he goes back to 7 on the E string. So that whole thing is. This is where he kind of gets into that a little more of the jazzy swing feel. So he pulls off on the B string from 10, 9, 7. And then he plays the 9th fret on the G string. So that 10, 9, 7 was on the B string. Then he does this thing where he goes 9, 7, and then he goes back to 9, pull off 7, slide to 6. On the G string. So you have. Then he goes from 9, 8 on the D string to the 6th fret on the G string. So that whole thing is. And then after he does that little, he rolls rolls over from the 9th fret on both the D and the A string. Then he goes back to the D string and plays 7, 9, back to 9 on the A string. So that whole thing is. Then he goes to the 9th fret, he skips all these strings, goes to the 9th fret on the B string, and he bends that up a half step and adds some vibrato. So the whole thing is. Then he gets into this really cool sequential phrase